For the base of my work, I like using a technique called twining. I'm using a material that I use within the piece so it blends in nicely. In this case, the super chunky merino. I'm going to measure 4 times the width of my work and allow a little bit extra. Now fold it in two so you can find the middle of this strand, and that middle is going to go around the first warp thread on the left hand side. We're going to put these strands to the right because we'll be weaving from left to right. We're going to pick up the bottom strand of these two, which is the one coming from the left of the first warp thread. And you're going to bring this tail under the second warp thread. So lift up the second warp thread with your right index finger and then bring the tail of the strand from left to right under the second warp thread, bringing it back to the front. This strand then becomes the top strand, and the next one is the bottom one. So again, we're going to be working with the bottom one. Pick that up, and this is going to go under warp thread number 3. Lift it up and feed it under warp thread number 3 from left to right. Bring it to the front and then place it down again, so this now becomes the top. You're now going to continue this twining, picking up the bottom thread every time. So pick up the bottom and feed it under the next free warp thread from left to right, placing it down at the top and picking up the next bottom one. Do this all the way across. And that is your first row of twining done. Give it a gentle tug to even out the yarn, and then you can press it down and make it nice and even, leaving about 5 centimeters between the twining and the frame of the loom. You will see the little loops of where you have been going around the warp threads, and we're now going to work from right to left. So bring your yarn to the right and find the strand that you have used last. Leave that aside and use the different one now to go around the first warp thread on the right hand side, from the right to the left this time. Leave it at the top and pick up your next strand. Go around warp thread number 2 from right to left and leave it at the top. Again, continue this for the whole row. And with that, your second row of twining is done, and this will form a nice base to build a fringe on with either tassels or loops. Straighten it out a bit using your comb. You'll see the loops, and you can just tuck the 2 ends to the back of your work to deal with later.